Hey there, pal. How's it going? It's so good to see you. See,
It's good to finally meet you, quote unquote, in person. We've been talking digitally for years now.
so actually, this is the second time that we've met.
Really?
Yeah, the first time you were helping me find jobs before I got the job that I have now. You were preparing me for the job that I have now.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
we had a whole
How?
conversation about imposter syndrome.
Oh, we did.
Yeah,
Holy mackerel! How many children ago was that from me?
one. It was one because you had BD, but you didn't have the second one yet.
Gotcha. Yeah, BD too. For those unaware, we refer to the first child as baby dictator because for the longest time, my wife and I coped with being new parents with no sleep, with no whatever, as referring to our firstborn as baby dictator. Because if he was happy, everyone was happy. But if he wasn't happy, he made sure everybody knew about it, regardless of what was going on. So we're good parents. I
Absolutely.
think. I think we're good parents. I don't know.
You're
I don't
good
know.
parents. You tell
But we
me.
don't actually call them that to their faces. We just use it online, but also to give them a little bit of anonymity.
I was gonna say, yeah, like, if you said that to their face, that probably would be the ooh. But no, you're wonderful parents. You tell me all these things about how your kids. You actually care, which is a huge step in the right direction that I wish more parents did. And you actually love your
Fingers
kids,
crossed. Yeah, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. They're pretty cute, especially when they're sleeping,
right?
which they don't do. Anyway, this isn't what we're here to talk about. Wow, that really I remember now. Holy
Yeah.
mackerel, that was a long time ago. No
S
wonder I don't remember because everything over these last couple of years has been so segmented with so many. It feels like a whole other life ago. Wow. Hi.
Hi. So
That has been a
hello,
long time.
hello, Elements of Madness, also known as Douglas, also known as Uncle Douglas. Hello, everybody who is joining us, who is joining the channel, my channel. I'm Cameron, the founder and host of the Home for Anime. And Uncle Douglas, I just like to lay a couple of ground rules, so just bear with
Sure.
me. The first one is
Sure.
that you and I, both as professional critics, we know that we're not better than anyone else. We know that a lot of people put a lot of work into every movie and show that we watch, and we will talk about
Right.
them with the utmost respect unless it is just an abhorrent crime against humanity. And we ask that the viewers speak. We ask that the viewers speak the same. And two, we do that with the understanding that we are still going to be 100% honest about what it is that we are talking about. So, Uncle Douglas, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about the directorial debut, if my research is correct. Shingo Yamashita, Cosmic Princess Kaguya. I
Kaguya.
keep, I keep. Thank you. I
Yeah,
keep switching the G and the Y, and my brain can't stop. So thank you.
I
We're
got
here to
you.
discuss that. The film released in January by Netflix. And by the way, I just want to fully support your opening statements. I literally just wrote a review where a good portion of it was talking about how I hate the term guilty pleasure. Just
Hmm.
enjoy things because it doesn't matter if your favorite film, like in my case, is Army of Darkness, which I don't think anyone would call high art, but I would, you know? So love what you love. It's okay to have an opinion. There's just a difference between going, this is trash versus here's what I think doesn't work for it and why. So I agree with you completely. But yes, we're here to talk about the Cosmic Princess and the modern adaptation of the Tale of the Bamboo Cutter.
Yes, which right off the bat, the first thing that I really loved about Cosmic Princess Kaguya is that they tell you straight up, this is our take on the tale of the bamboo cutter by telling the tale of the bamboo cutter.
Mm-hmm.
So, Cosmic Princess Kaguya, while being an adaptation of the tale of the bamboo cutter, follows this teenage girl named Iroha. And
Mm-hmm.
Iroha is this high school student who is really good at a lot of things, but really downplays herself. She lives on her own because she doesn't get along well with her mother. And she's
Mhm.
very much a not just burning the candle on both ends, burning the candle on all ends. I did not realize you could do that, but she does it. She has these little dark bags behind her eyes that are just always there. Pure tired girl energy. I am here for it.
Mhm.
I resonate with it. We all are Iroha.
Mhm.
And one day she finds this baby in in
Like you do.
and as you do in a telephone pole that has bamboo handles, and her life is already so packed that it tries to open and she just shuts it. And it's this is destiny forcing itself upon her,
It's what she wished for,
which is
because she and other people saw a shooting star, and she was like, you know what? I'm going to wish for money. She wanted money to make things easier for her, because the part that adds a little detail is that her life is so regimented, on schedule. She wants to get into school, and she is working, I think, at least one, if not multiple jobs to pay for her apartment, to pay for her tuition, to pay for everything. So she doesn't have much of a social life, because every moment of every day is relegated to either school or work in order to achieve her dream. And the idea of having money isn't just, well, wouldn't anybody like a little extra cash? It would give her freedom, which she doesn't have, because she doesn't have the support system that she would prefer. By having the money, she'd be able to have a life. Now it's a little bit of a monkey's paw,
mm-hmm.
because she gets the money, but through that journey, she starts to learn about what's actually valuable.
Absolutely. I was gonna say I really like the monkey's paw aspect that you're bringing to it, because as soon as she finds this baby who she does call Kaguya as homage
Mm.
to the tale of the bamboo cutter, her entire life is flipped upside down, worse than the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, because first this baby just
You get in one
grows.
little fight, and your mom gets, never mind.
Hey,
Um,
we're here. By the time
sorry.
we're recording this, the Oscars are coming up. Anyway, this she finds this baby and it grows and grows and grows, and it as she basically becomes a teenager, same age as Iroha, Kaguya finds that after hearing the tale of the bamboo cutter, she says, I want a happy ending because the tale of the bamboo cutter is considered to have a happy ending. I don't find that ending to be happy, so I want my ending to be happy. And to do that, she joins this online community that Iroha is a part of, and they
Mhm.
somehow just decide, hey, I'm gonna be a streamer. I'm gonna make songs, everything, and Iroha, you're along for the ride because I need you. And Iroha is just thinking, I don't have time for this, and she really comes out of her social shell. So it's you're right. She is finding out the things that matter. That it's not all about practicality,
Mhm.
because these stringent regiments that I think adults find themselves tied to, which is
Oh
very
yeah.
much what she's basically just like a young adult at that point, living on her own and
Mm.
supporting herself fully. I think that this is a very good lesson for a lot of people. We lose sight of the things that are important to us because we have these daily responsibilities. And sometimes the reality check comes from the most absurd thing possible.
Yeah,
And so that is
absolutely.
the first thing that I just absolutely admire about this movie. I think that the those eye-opening moments for Iroha, and also the relationship between Iroha and Kaguya, that is one of the best friendship slash relationships I have ever seen. And
Uh-huh.
if I was talking to somebody about how anime is becoming more, I guess you could say, progressive, because this is a love story.
Yeah.
Because I love how just, and it was so matter of fact that Kaguya just straight up says, "I fell in love with you the moment I met you." And it's not weird. It's not played up or laughs. It's not over dramatic or anything. It's just, I fell in love with you the moment I met you. And
See, but love can mean a lot of things. And I mean it has different meanings, different interpretations. I didn't take it as romantic
mm,
so much as, I mean, when one considers that she goes from an infant to a young adult within a matter of 2 to 3 days.
mm-hmm,
So mentally, she's still learning the world and is still very impulsive. Developmentally, her journey through this film is to develop into a young adult.
mm,
And so, having not had the trials that Aroha has, allows her to be freer. And she's the child. In a way, this is a parent child relationship because you've got one who's not exactly super strict, but it's like, why are you spending my money? Oh my God, where's my money going? Looking at her bank and seeing it's in negative. No, where did it go? And that's kind of sometimes what happens with being a parent.
mm,
Sometimes literally, like waking up and finding out that you've spent $200 you didn't actually spend on a digital video game and going, what the hell happened? And other times, yeah, 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 there was a conversation had about that one. And then other times it's like, well, you've got special needs and we don't know if these shoes are going to work or if this fabric's going to fit or if this tool is going to operate the way that we hope. So you're spending money one way or the other, but in the case of this, I found it that it was in the same way that a child looks at a parent and goes, can go, not always.
mm-hmm.
I have affection for you. I have love for you. I can totally see the romantic angle, though I have issues with the conclusion of the film
Mm-hmm.
and, excuse me, and some of the Deus Ex Machina that's going on throughout that we discover as we go. But I have no issue with the romantic angle. If
Yeah,
one wants to, as you did, perceive that as a romantic angle, I think that's lovely too.
I think you're absolutely
Why
right
not?
about it being, it is something that is up to interpretation. I think when I hear the words in love versus I loved you, that's probably where that
Mhm,
comes from. Because I
mhm,
know that VTuber, that AI that Iroha loves, Yachio, she has
mhm,
this very, I don't want to call it a blind admiration because that gets explained, as you said, very, very Deus Ex Machina esque towards
mhm.
the end. But yeah, that's how I viewed that. But I'm glad that you brought up the ending because that is one huge issue that I actually have with the movie, and this is as someone who genuinely loved it.
Mhm.
Do you ever look at a movie, especially an anime movie, and you think this should have been either an OVA or this should have been a season of anime. This should have been cut up into episodes.
Not necessarily.
Mm.
I think as a what is it? It's just over 2 hours.
It's
I forget
almost
how
two and
long.
a
It's
half
like 2.
hours.
Yeah, and a lot of that's because the musical numbers
Mm-hmm.
and some of the other stuff they've got going. It's paced very well, and I feel like you get enough about all of these characters, and the world is realized. One of my favorite things, and I was thinking about this. I rewatched Scarlet 2 days ago. It's
Ugh.
about to come out. It's already in IMAX theaters now, and
Mm,
going to
mm,
general
mm.
theaters on the 13th of February. But that also uses traditional hand drawn animation as well as 3D computer animation. And there's a lot of that going on here as well in Cosmic Princess, which makes sense because you've got this digital realm. So you're seeing fire that has like these little sprites, and then
Yeah.
the gameplay that they're having when they do combat battles has a certain visual language that works there. So I felt like they worked everything in, and it felt like a nice contained thing. My problem is that it wanted a happy ending, and it's a story, So all of this, I want to be very clear here. Every movie, every book, every manga, whatever, it's all manufactured. Someone is
Mm-hmm.
trying. Gege is just destroying everybody with Jujutsu Kaisen. Like he's just murdering everybody, audience and characters alike. And
Oh
I
yeah.
don't read the manga. I only watch the anime, and we just watched the latest episode last night, and it was fun. But anyway, the point is that they're all manufactured. I'm aware of this.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a difference between an ending that is satisfying and an ending that is trying to deliver something because it wants it versus delivers a full ending. And the best way I can put this, it reminds me of Weathering with You. Have
Mm.
you seen that?
Oh, it's one of my favorites.
And I love that filmmaker. I love that filmmaker.
Mm-hmm. Makoto Shinkai.
Your name, Suzumi, so good. My problem is that Weathering with You to me would have been a stronger film without a happy ending. And this one, the happy ending doesn't work for me because yes, it provides a way for the characters to get what they want, but sometimes getting what you want doesn't mean getting what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So, or
and
it's more about getting what you need versus what you want. That's more.
which
And I feel like
is
they got what they wanted, not necessarily what they needed.
which is why I say when I wanted this to be more of toward that end, probably the last 30 minutes went by so fast that I wish that it could have been a series because there was just this sequence of events and I'm just thinking to myself, how did we get here? There is so much and
Yeah.
I am genuinely just thinking to myself, I would have loved to see this fleshed out because some of these reveals they they make it make sense, but they introduce concepts that made me think that is inherently an interesting thing that you have brought to to the table. I want to know more about this. I want to know about these journeys. I want to know how did you come up with these conclusions that this is what you wanted to do. So when I say that I wanted a series, just that last 30 minutes introduced
Mhm.
so much that I was kind of bothered by the ending that we got because I said this they worked hard for this happy ending, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I feel slightly shafted.
Now, I feel as though we didn't talk about this before recording, so forgive me for doing this now.
No, you're good.
It feels like we're both trying to keep this as spoiler free as possible, so that people can experience the film
Mm-hmm.
as they so choose. We're recording this weeks after it released on Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously this is based on a very old folk tale. So for anyone that's familiar with the original, they sort of know where this is going. So with that in mind, I have a question.
Okay.
And it is specific to the tale because this is an adaptation, so it follows that original story. And as you said, they tell us in the beginning, she comes to Earth, she spends time on Earth, she leaves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the general story. So my question for you is the part that frustrated you, is it the way that they begin to manufacture the leaving of Earth? Is that part of the thing that you liked but you felt frustrated by?
The way that they manufactured her leaving Earth to go back to the moon, I actually thought was stellar. It
Okay.
reminds me that entire digital world, but especially that fight towards the end,
Mhm.
really reminds me of Mamoru Hosoda's Bell, if you remember that.
Oh, I fucking love Belle. I was writing about that while writing about Scarlet.
Let me tell you,
Belle broke me.
Bell broke me too. And as I am watching this, I am, and maybe this is just because I've loved everything that Hosoda has done up until I saw Scarlet. I genuinely hated
Interesting.
Scarlet.
Aw.
I know. I was very, very disappointed, but that's not what this is about. I have a whole episode on Scarlet. Um, but as I'm watching this digital world that has been created for Cosmic Princess Kaguya, I'm just thinking, I love Belle for what it is. If Belle had been made today, this is what I would have hoped that the world of you would look like. And
Interesting.
these character designs, even for the aliens, they are so inventive, everything tying to technology and the idea that the digital world is closer to the moon than Earth is, which I had to think about that for a second. And they're absolutely correct if you think about things like satellites and stuff like that. Um,
Fascinating. So that's your read on why they come to the digital realm instead of the real world?
mm-hmm. But that whole sequence,
Fascinating.
that the fight and how she actually leaves are both
Hmm.
very, they're awesome. I was content with it just being all right. So this is how we're gonna go about it. So yes, it is cut and dry. Tail the bamboo cutter, and it is happy. It's kind of like a better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all.
Hmm.
And I appreciated it. Um, but yeah, my problem just comes with the just what happens after. But the actual taking, I really enjoyed. I thought that it was gorgeous to look at.
Oh, absolutely. I and thank you. This is by the way, and going back to your opening rules of the show, if you will. It's one of the reasons why I love discussion, whether it's through actual conversation as we're having now, or people writing, or whatever it is, where it's exploring the work and thinking about the work. Because I was grappling with why would they, in the original, obviously in the original story and other adaptations, there's not these levels of reality. This is a story that is using modern technology, modern living to tell this story. So you've got the real world, you've got the digital realm where people are existing, which is its own commentary.
Mm-hmm.
But I struggle to understand, other than the fact that it looks really cool. I love the fact that some of the people trying to grab her are figures that look like the lanterns, the lanterns that are put on rivers
Mm-hmm.
and float, right? The idea of transporting to the beyond, the in the traditions that they're used in. And so I loved this idea that they were sort of these physical emissaries trying to get to her. And I loved that as a design. But I struggle to understand, she's she's on Earth wearing contact lenses, standing in a room running in place.
Mm-hmm.
Like, get her. She's not going anywhere, y'all. Like, get her. And so I was trying to figure out why. But no, but this is what I'm saying, particularly because you referenced Belle. The stuff that is happening in that movie is happening in the real world, but also happening in the digital realm. And the
Right.
digital realm allows them to address and take control of the things that happen in the real world that they can't. And Belle, when it concludes, it's about realizing that while the digital realm is a place of freedom, in the real world is where things matter. And so that's where the real fight, the real conclusion, the real climax occurs. So I struggled with why everything is happening in the digital realm, other than it creates the opportunity to do these super cool modern meets classic versions of things. But your idea that technology is closer to the moon, so they have a shorter distance to travel, is fascinating. And now I'm trying to figure out the logistics of how one travels, how they do they have headsets? Do they I'm trying to envision, and it's fascinating. It doesn't frustrate me. It's that is such an interesting idea, Cameron.
It is
I'm not sure it
something.
makes me like it any better, but it's so fascinating.
Right, right. Because no, I get what you're saying. I do. Because you know that there's this mention of an 8,000 year journey, and
Mhm.
I can't help but think that that has been cut severely. Because when you think about it, they knew the people on the moon. Because she Kaguya says, I basically left my job on the moon for this,
Yep.
and she regressed to a baby. So she was an adult human moon woman, whatever. She regressed into a child because she went down, down, down to Earth over the course of 8,000 years, grew back up. So over that course of time, I feel like something had to have shifted. But then I look at these moonfolk and I'm starting to lose my train of thought. But I'm looking at these moonfolk and I'm thinking, okay, the internet must have expedited this somehow. I didn't realize the moon was that far away. What, 8,000 light years? Or are they just being dramatic with the meteorite?
They're being dramatic, and this is where okay, so talking about the ending.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was she returns to the Earth at the end of the story and goes back to work and says F this and heads back to try to get back to everybody. And things went wrong. And that's where the 8,000 years take place. So that this was the god in the machine, if you will, is that it's sort of without getting specific in that end,
Mm-hmm.
it's if you think about it in a chronological linear line from the perspective of our lead characters, the initial incident comes to Earth, is a baby, is found through hearts and flowers,
Mm-hmm.
grows up to be a young adult, gets grabbed, goes back to the moon, then says F this and goes back, but ends up spending 8,000 years waiting to get back to the present.
So actually, I
That was my
regained.
interpretation.
Well, I regained my train of thought because if you remember her coming back, what caused her to come back is that she heard the transmission of that song that was done in the virtual world almost immediately. And it was the trip back that was long. Because if you
Yeah.
think about the fact that nobody immediately came and got Kaguya at the beginning of the story, she spent probably a solid month or two. So to me, I'm thinking, because Iraha says, you can stay with me until someone picks you up.
Mm-hmm.
Where could they have figured out where Kaguya was if not for this transmission? And then just maybe said, you have a little bit more time. We'll grant you that. But we don't know where she is, us being moon people. We don't know where she is. So that's where that came from in my mind.
There's definitely a story like this being beholden to the source material. It has to hit certain beats.
Mm-hmm.
The arrival and the exit are critical to the story.
Right.
Um, a film like Scarlet, understand you didn't enjoy it. I wasn't sure how I felt about it the first time. I liked it a little bit better the second. That one is an adaptation of William Shakespeare's Hamlet, and so it's beholden to certain things, except it's taking the story of Hamlet and turning the perspective, the storytelling regarding revenge, and flipping the approach.
Mm-hmm.
Still getting more or less to the same message, just doing it differently. And I found that particularly fascinating the second time around and wrestled with that a little bit. Here, because it's beholden to those things, it has to figure out a way in the narrative. How do we go from point A to point B in the original story, but make it modern? And I think that's where things become a little bit more convoluted than they need to be. They're things that, as you were just describing them, they more or less become headcanon. Here's how I'm going to rationalize or explain rather than having it be. I don't know if it matters how they find her eventually.
No.
I think they're if we prescribe to the idea that it's an adaptation and that somehow the spirits discover where she is, the spirits somehow discover where she is and they come and they get her.
I think
Okay.
they're just trying to make some kind of like they can't just not explain it. I think that's where it comes from, is that they can't not explain it. Otherwise, it's just, well, where does this fit in? No, I don't know. It just happened, buddy. Deal with it.
That's folklore for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just go, it is our time. It is our time to leave. They have come for me. They know I was going to be here. I am destined to be here in this tale. And it is a tale that happens over and over again. I, I was reading something the other day that talked about how in Gilmore Girls, someone references The Sopranos,
Mm.
which means that The Sopranos is a TV show in the universe of the Gilmore Girls. But likewise, someone is watching the Gilmore Girls in an episode of The Sopranos, which means that in the universe of The Sopranos, the Gilmore Girls is a TV show. So, in the world of Cosmic Princess, this story has already happened because the tale of the bamboo cutter has happened before. That's why she gets her name. So I wonder if it's also a story of inevitability, of reincarnation, of lessons that need to be learned over and over again,
I actually had a thought about that too.
which could be a way to interpret it.
See, speaking of interpretations, I had a thought about that too.
Sure.
I kind of figured that, and this does give away some of the ending. I feel like Kaguya is now being deemed as the one who created the tale of the bamboo cutter because she heard the tale of the bamboo cutter from Iroha, and then she goes back thousands and thousands of years. So that's where the, what did you call it, self-fulfilling prophecy comes in.
Mm-hmm.
It is quite literally, I am writing my own story.
Yeah. I think that is that actually makes a lot of sense within the rules of the film, and this is where I think your argument for would this have been better as even a limited series, a single season,
Mm-hmm.
where you could have had time to flesh out some of these things? Maybe. But you get enough that certainly through discussion, one can go, oh, this was this here and this was this here. People that enjoy this film, whether it's for the music, the animation, or anything else, they're going to revisit this film.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I'm gonna
and
revisit
so
it.
they'll have that opportunity to sort of peel the layers back. I do wish it was a little bit more, even with the ending sort of holding your hand and walking you through everything. I feel like where they held our hand wasn't as necessary as where they could have. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. There are some things that still confounded me, but I just kind of left it at, okay, this is where we're at. So I I enjoyed it. I would say that I genuinely loved this movie. Uh, there are things about it that I do not care for, and I know that we're running short on time, but I do want to say one thing that I actually don't care for with Cosmic
Mhm.
Princess Kaguya, the movie that is about a little bit about idols and VTubers and music. I did not like the music in this movie.
Yeah, that could be a problem, can it?
It was a bit of a problem for me. I think there are two songs out of the how many that I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, let's listen to that. And then the next one, like, okay. So that to me was the lacking part of this, mainly this digital world. I think when we got to things that Iraha herself wrote, those were a bit better, but everything else, especially in this world where, and I love VTubers, I do. I love the internet period, as you know. Everything, and you said this about TV shows, you said this about movies, but it's not just that. It's it's everything that we as consumers consume is manufactured. So it's tailored to suit these different people's interests. And idols, Vocaloids, and VTubers are really big right now. They have been for the past few years. So what do? That is what you focus on. And that's what they did. I think that they did it in the best possible way. This is the best interpretation of it that I have seen, that I have enjoyed outside of VTubers themselves. And Vocaloids other than Hatsune Miku, who icon, love Hatsune Miku. But I'm
There was
just
a movie about with that character, right?
yes,
Recently.
yes, the Miku who can't sing, or the Miku who couldn't sing.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
thought that sounded familiar.
yeah,
Thank you.
from G Kids.
Getting ready to come out on home video, I think.
Yeah, only a deluxe edition or collector's edition so far. So I'm not. I didn't get to watch it. I'm not buying that. I'm not spending $63 for a movie that
That's
I have
fair.
not seen.
That's fair.
But that manufactured part in an already manufactured movie is one of the two things, other than wanting more time with this. Those are the only two things that I did not particularly care for. But to this film's credit, I will say, wanting more time with something because I enjoyed it, I would say that that is a huge benefactor. That's just me saying, yo, this is so good. I want more. It's kind of
Yeah.
like where you think, you know, I wish that Chili's had endless triple dippers, kind of like Olive Garden has endless pasta, but only of a few. Like let me just get sick off of mozzarella sticks and southwestern egg rolls. But in this case, it's let me get sick off of Cosmic Princess Kaguya's story, out of its characters' relationships, which we spent so much time talking about these two that we didn't even scratch how not well fleshed out, but there are some things that genuinely surprised me about this movie that there's no point in even giving it away at this point, but there are some very deep cutting moments for me where I just
Mhm.
thought I can't believe that we're actually going in this direction. I'm surprised at the emotional weight that this is giving certain characters. I just wish that they had done more with the mom. That was literally it.
I particularly given the significance of the mother, I agree having just a little bit more to see whether or not and how they bridge the gap between them. It's the whole reason she's on her own.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with you. There were certain elements about this film that I liked more than others. Amusingly, the colors within. Did you see that
I
a couple
did.
years?
I did. I
Uh,
enjoyed it, but I didn't love it.
I, exactly. And for me, the music is the thing that I keep coming back to. The
Mm-hmm.
three songs in particular. The score is good, but the three songs in particular, I still listen to. And for me, it's sort of the reverse of this. I liked the story, I liked the world, the songs as well didn't necessarily do much for me.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas while writing up Scarlet, I was listening to the Volume One live performance Studio Chizu orchestral performance
Mm.
and stuff, and I still listen to the Bell soundtrack
Oh,
because it is gorgeous. This
perfection.
one, this one, it's the music is a significant portion to the narrative as it speaks to how the characters connect to begin with, how they get fans, how they deal with trauma, all of these things. And for some reason, and you know, eye of the beholder here, I agree. They didn't really work for me at all. It was just okay. This is fine. This is an element of the story. Okay, cool.
Right.
And that I will admit did bum me out a little bit because I want to. I want to like all the elements that are put in here because each one is a different building block towards what the filmmaker's trying to do. So
Hmm.
it's a bit of a bummer in that regard.
Right. And then the last thing I will say is just the action is stellar when there is action. You know,
Yes.
when they're playing games, and then I keep referring to the fight that they have at the end. Those
Hmm.
were some of the coolest fights that I have seen in anime. That aside from things like, Jujutsu Kaisen, may I ask for one final thing? This movie, more than any anime movie that I've seen in the past probably year or two, because I kind of have been existing outside of the shonen space, this is
Hmm.
very much putting belt to ass digitally, and I am here for it.
Yeah, there were some really clever moments in the battle sequences. I'm not sure I would rate it as highly. There were some. I My favorite animated movie of last year was Batman Ninja versus Yakuza League. I loved the way that they were constructed and designed, and the layering of actual Japanese culture on top of the DC Comics characters and everything else. And also, Chainsaw Man and Infinity Castle had some
Oh,
so cleverly and intensely designed action sequences. The spoiler alert for those of you that haven't seen it yet in theaters or on digital at this point, but Denji riding Beam into a pissed off typhoon. It's literally riding one happy emotion through a storm of other emotions. Like, it's layer upon layer of meaning, as well as just being gory and violent and beautiful at the same time. So I found those more evocative than the fight sequences here, but the way that they were staged were still super cool,
oh
and they
yeah.
were so fun and inherently aware of the language of online gaming, of
Mm-hmm.
these types of online games, and used that so well that, yeah, you got a little nervous about who was going to win and how, and the way it was going to work. So while for me it wasn't, I wouldn't speak of it as highly as you are, it was still a lot of fun. And I had to appreciate that in the runtime, when we got to those moments, I was still going, okay, this is pretty cool. And we've got more to go. All
Mm-hmm.
right, let's see what you got. And again, it was paced very, very well. So I never felt the drag of the 220,
Right.
which was great. Even if I would have liked things to have played out a little differently, a little less, as I said earlier, manufactured, and a little bit more organic and natural to this world, man, it had some cool moments.
Yeah.
It really did.
Yeah, I really did. I really did love this movie, all things considered. And yes, the Chainsaw Man movie was perfect. But I really did. I
Need it on
really.
physical.
Oh my god! Please, please. I have been waiting. I want that collector's edition so bad. Take all of my money.
Won't spend $60 on a movie he hasn't seen. I will give you every penny I have for physical version of the movie
I
I
will.
have
I
seen.
will give you
I can
all.
respect that.
I will give you all $3 in my savings account.
Again, I respect that.
But yeah, man, I didn't feel that 223 because I did not get up to pee once. I didn't even check to see what time, like how much time the movie had left. I was just I was just enjoying it.
Right on.
For reference, I didn't have anything to drink before watching one battle after another. I got up to pee twice. And the second time I just told my mom, I said, just keep the movie playing. I'm not.
Oh,
But
I'm sorry.
I love Cosmic Princess Kaguya. I might say I actually enjoy this a little bit more than The Tale of Princess Kaguya by Isao Takahata. Rest in peace.
Haven't seen that one.
Oh, it is so good. Isao Takahata is one of my favorite directors. He did this movie that I will recommend to everyone till the day I die called Only Yesterday. We don't have time to get into it, but I'm looking straight at the camera. Look at it. Look at Only Yesterday, please. It's on HBO Max.
I am adding it right now, only yesterday, to my watch list so that I will remember to watch it. I Might have a night off coming up soon,
Oh
and
boy.
depending on which child I'm putting to bed, I will if the runtime fits, I will try and watch that on my next night off,
Well,
just for
Uncle.
you.
Well, Uncle Douglas. First off, thank you for agreeing to watch only yesterday. Second, thank you for joining me. Where could people find you if they wanted to read your work or they want to follow you on Instagram? Where can they find you?
The website is elementsofmadness.com. You
Mm-hmm.
can read my work and the work of our contributors there. We work really hard to cover as much as possible and do the occasional interview from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and from there, it's basically some version of Elements of Madness on Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, Spoutable, Letterboxed, etc.
I don't even
So
know
you
what
can
half of
you
the
can find
things you
us on
just
all of
said
those
are.
places. What's that?
I don't even know what half of the things you just said are. I am so out of touch. But
It's just
I will
we post everywhere.
I will link all of those in the description so that you can follow for amazing, and I mean amazing, film reviews and interviews because this is something that no one knows on this channel. This is the very last thing I'll say. Douglas, no one really knows that it was you and a man named Edwin Arnauden, who's another critic. You guys are the reason that I even do this.
Really.
Yeah, because you're the ones who taught me about film criticism. You taught me about how to get screeners. So that is why I get to work with Crunchyroll and G Kids because anime and animation is what I cover. It's how I
Mhm.
get the idea to go to film festivals that focus on animation. Like that's because of you guys, because I didn't really have any, I didn't know what I was doing. And you guys, you liked my work, let me into the Film Critics Association, and so you are a big reason why I do what I do. And I give you a lot of credit for that. So thank you for that as well.
I'm not going to speak for Edwin, but I'm sure I've said this to you before. You got yourself in to the North Carolina Film Critics Association. You got yourself in there with the work that you're doing, the consistency. There's a difference between people that you can have an opinion. Anybody can have an opinion about a movie, but there's a difference between having an opinion and forming an argument and being able to articulate that argument, whether whatever your medium is, whether it's podcasting with audio or video, whether it's writing, whether it's whatever. You did this for yourself. You had all the skills, you had all the tools. Maybe you didn't know how to get additional access, but you earn this yourself and you continue to earn this. This is your doing, and you should be proud of you. You should be very proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Um, well, that is it from us. We hope that you have a wonderful day, night, wherever it is that you're watching this, and that you take care until next time.